Hey there, welcome to the second annual E4 Fantasy Football Preseason Show. I fucking nailed it. All right. With me today, I have Gage, Brian.
How's it going?
And special guest, Poodle.
What's going on, guys?
Right on, guys. This is our second year doing this. It was a good idea for us to start last year, and we decided to keep doing it. Let's talk about last year real quick. Last year, I think we had some champs in the room, right? Like, Gage, you won your fantasy league.
Won the 14-man last year.
14-man league. No easy feat.
Needed that one. Felt good.
Yeah, Poodle, how you feel about that?
I think I have a lot to do with that one.
Yeah, I think I want to give Poodle the credit for lighting the fire. Yeah,
Poodle actually screwed me.
Yeah. Actually, under our we had the podcast last year, and under the comments, Poodle left something just
Really lit
discrediting me, just really dogging me, man. And I took that personally. And it was big to come out there and get the W after something like that. But no, all fun though. We got some champs in here. You got one.
Previous champ.
Yep.
Brian
Brian got
loser.
one.
Two-time.
Current loser.
Current last place
Poodle's
loser.
got two.
Poodle's got two.
Migs won the
GMK,
our little
the
GMK league
Yeah.
last
Yeah,
year.
that was
So
more of a fun league, but it was still fun.
we've got
good.
the accolades.
Accolades are here.
Yeah, we know what we're talking about.
We got
mostly.
Sometimes.
Mostly.
We got champion perspectives, last place perspectives.
Yeah.
Been there.
We got all.
So if you're looking for some fantasy advice for this year's 2024 season, you're in the right place.
You're here.
Before we get started, though, let's eat our crow. Last year, we all said some things that we may or may not be proud of. What was mine? I said Khalil Herbert was going to be a fucking star.
It was going to be a thing.
And he was a turd.
He was a
He was
turd.
a floating
Fantasy
turd.
Yeah, we can't get them all right all the time.
can't.
I think we had some good takes.
We were right about a lot.
We were right about a lot. I know I was definitely wrong. If you watched last year's, I was high on Tony Pollard in the first round. Going to be a workhorse stud, and he was not very.
He was, but I think the whole world was also very
so
big on Tony
I got to eat my
Pollard.
crow on Tony Pollard. That did not work out. If you listened to me and you heard me say Tony Pollard is going to win your league, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I bet you didn't win. You didn't win that league.
You had to have some good picks after Tony because he was not what we thought he was going to be.
Brian, what about you, Brian?
My turd was an honorable mention, Alexander Madison.
Oh.
I was high on him last year. He might have been a bigger turd, but he fell off. I haven't even heard his
I
name.
feel like he had all the opportunity,
All of
and
it.
he just was fumbling and he struggled.
Yeah, I mean there was
struggled.
warning signs, not like Tony Pollard, where the whole industry pretty much was propping him up. There was some people that didn't like Madison, and so I was on the side of I thought he would be a steal, and he was just a turd.
Dude stunk from the beginning.
Stinky.
Dude,
He
Tyler,
stinky.
was there anyone last year that you thought was going to explode? And then
Though
just-
I wasn't invited on, and had y'all invited on a true fantasy expert, I probably most definitely would have led y'all astray by saying Garrett Wilson was going to be a league winner. And boy, was I wrong.
Yeah.
Not to his detriment, because it was the quarterback. Really,
Yeah.
It wasn't his fault. But yeah, he still lost you that.
You can't, you can't
you
predict
could go
injury.
Garrett Wilson again this year. See how that goes.
I think he's definitely got some big upside. It's all going to rely on health for not just him.
Yep.
All right. Well, you know what? Let's stop diddle-dallying around and let's get into it. Let's talk about these players. So we're using the Fantasy Pros ranking system here. They have them in tiers. So we'll just go through the tiers and we'll just kind of skim over. Some of these are obviously like, must drafts or, so we'll do it. It's the top, what we doing? The top 50 players? Top 50 picks?
Yeah, we'll do top 50.
We'll start with tier 1. Now, tier 1 consists of 4 players. I'll go ahead and name all tier 1. It's we have McCaffrey, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, and Jamar Chase are the 4 top league picks right now. Now, I think it's very interesting that there's only 1 running back and 3 wide receivers. I feel like it's been a shift for the past few years, how it's been a lot of running backs up in the top 5, top 4. How are some of y'all feelings about these players? Are these must drafts, or are you passing on some of these guys?
No doubt must drafts. Every one of those names.
I think there's only one I wouldn't consider with the number 1 pick is Jamar Chase.
Oh, I agree.
I think out of all those 4 guys, I'd be happy taking. I could understand taking any one of those guys number 1 overall. CMC is the best player in fantasy when he's healthy. He's already kind of banged up. Got those questions there. Great offense, great coach. He's, if he stays healthy, I think I like him number 1 overall. But I think Jamar Chase is kind of the outlier in this group.
Yeah, I think the first round in this year could be the most unpredictable because there's a case for McCaffrey being number 1, but I also think there's a strong case for him not being the first running back with Breece Hall and Bijan. And so that case is, if someone took Tyreek over McCaffrey, you're not going to hear any argument from me. Or even CeeDee Lamb, I wouldn't even question it. If someone took Bijan or Breece, sure, what's the information say? McCaffrey, how old is he? 28 years, and we all know that there's a wall that they hit at the age of 28. And just the most current example of that is last year we had Austin Eckler. He was the number 2 running back. Guess how old he was last year? 28.
Yikes.
Where is he?
Yeah.
Fell off the face of the earth.
If you took Austin Eckler last year with a high draft choice, you were hurting.
And that's kind of where I'm at, too, with McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Definitely look at him or view him as an Eckler. But not just that. The whole dark cloud hovering over the San Francisco organization scares the daylights out of me for fantasy purposes. Not only the age factor, and it's hard to keep up the pace with what he did last year. I'm going CD. I think, and I'm a Steelers fan. It's hard for me to say. I would go see if I was in the number 1 position. I'd go CD Lamb.
Just off of points, you think alone, just because Cowboys have a pretty good offense.
I think they're going to throw a ton.
Oh, yeah.
A ton.
Yeah.
I think they don't have any running game. I think they brought back Zeke, and if that's what they're leaning on, I'd be very nervous.
I think Zeke is still a backup right now. I don't even know if he's even the number 1.
I don't know how they're going to do it. He might be
I don't
the
know.
You don't know.
I don't know.
And so I think with them not pulling in a running back and them leaning towards Zeke, I think that speaks volumes in terms of where their mindset is. And I think it's going to be pass first. And I think CeeDee Lamb eats.
Yeah.
So real quick, I'll touch on everybody's things. CMC, I agree with you, Gage. I do think last year he was my league winner. Like, I won. The guy was doing, a shitload of points every week. This year, also last year he went the whole season without getting injured. So
I think he got banged up in the championship game.
Yeah, he got banged up in the championship game.
Right.
But for CMC, that's kind of a stretch to go. Normally he's hurt almost every season, losing, sitting out a few games. So some might say he's overdue for injury. I think he's currently in an injury right now. CeeDee Lamb, I think, is a great first-round pick. The only bad thing about that is Dak does not do good without a running game. And that's just from a Cowboy fan perspective. Whenever he's forced to pass the ball consistently, his quarterback rating goes down. He kind of relies on a good running game. And I think either the Cowboys as a offensive, shifts and they learn something new and learn how to go without a good backfield, or I think they might just kind of go down the toilet hole there. Jamar Chase, man, dude, I'm just kind of off Jamar Chase. Call it a gut feeling, but I rather have any other 3. So I agree with you again, Gage.
I'm not sure why I feel that way. I know they moved Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd's no longer there.
Yeah, I don't know.
It should be more volume for Jamar, but we did see him get in. I don't know if it's just the recency bias with him just getting injured last year and really not have. He does have that upside, but for some reason I'm just kind of not feeling him this high over guys like Tyreek. Who if I'm taking a wide receiver right here, I'm going to take Tyreek, just with the explosiveness. And you can't really say Tua is better than Dak. It's not really. That's really not why.
But with the track record, I totally get the Tyreek call.
Yeah.
But I'm not as low on Chase as you guys are.
Yeah.
I think Chase is still a hot commodity.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people got turned down, so to speak, because the Burrow injury at the start of the season last year. It was a very slow start. Then he got injured himself, and it was just slow progression through the year for him. But I think that all turns around. You lose a Tyler Boyd, someone's got to eat up those targets, and Joe's going to be healthy. That offense can cook. We've seen it when they're full cylinders. They got an improved running game, in my opinion. I think Joe Mixon bogged him down a little bit last year. He ate up a lot of carries. I think a lot of those translate to more pass attempts, and I'm high on Chase.
All right. Hell yeah. All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to the second tier. I'll break this one in half. We'll talk about the first 4 players. This one's pretty interesting for me. We have at number 5, Jefferson. Justin Jefferson, right? I'm making sure I get his first name right. Justin Jefferson, B. John Robinson, Breece Hall, and Amar St. Brown. That's number 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now, to be honest with you, like some of these players, I would kind of want to squeeze in that more tier 1, like, or expand that tier 1. Justin Jefferson, I feel like, is in a similar case where Jamar Chase is, to where people just might still have a bad taste in their mouth from last year. But I still think that guy can produce crazy tier 1 numbers. B. John Robinson, I'll be honest with y'all, I don't know what the fuck he's doing in tier 2. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if I'm on crazy pills. Breece Hall and Amar St. Brown, I think, are just no-brainers. Those guys are going to put up numbers. How do y'all feel?
I think I could see, kind of going back to that tier 1, if you're questionable on McCaffrey, Breece or Bijan could be the number 1 pick overall.
You think Bijan too?
Easily, yeah. I could see that. I wouldn't even think anything crazy of it.
Definitely depending on your style of league.
Yep.
You know, and like their past draft history. And I know nowadays, pretty deep at wide receiver, a lot of people are going running back heavy in those early rounds. You start seeing those running backs, or knowing or anticipating those running backs going to be flying off the board. I can easily see either of those names Brian just listed going 1.
So you got these 3 running backs: McCaffrey, Breece, Bijan. McCaffrey was the number 1 running back last year, and I don't think a running back has ever repeated number 1.
Yeah.
So if it's not going to be McCaffrey, if you're just sticking with that history, it's either going to be Bijan or Breece. And
yeah. And I think, Justin Jefferson, he's not in tier 1 this year, which up until injury last year, he was the clear number 1 in just volume, yards, touchdowns. He was the clear number 1 wide receiver. But his offense is changing up. He's got, Sam Darnold now. And you just kind of wonder if they can stay on the field and move the chains, if he's going to get the same opportunities as last year. But there's no one else there. Like, you got Addison, who's got his off the field problems. Is he going to be playing?
Injury just popped up.
Injuries. So he should be high volume, but it's just a question of, can Sam Darnold produce and stay on the field and give him opportunities?
I definitely don't agree with taking Jefferson at 1, but I think you'd be slipping if you let him outside your top 5.
And I think those concerns are going to let him fall to a good spot where you'd be comfortable taking him and probably get a steal. He's going to have number 1 potential.
So all you back-end drafters, be licking your chops.
Absolutely.
Let them drop, baby.
Absolutely.
But like Jamar Chase kind of falls in the same bucket with Jefferson and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, they're all kind of, to me, they're in 1 tier on their own.
Okay.
Just with, of course, all the things with Jefferson. I just think Jefferson's ceiling is capped. I think he has a high floor. He can be maybe a 3 through 7 wide receiver at the end of the year, but he won't finish 1 or 2. That's more that ceiling's kind of where Tyreek Hill and Lamb come in. That's probably why they're above them. But I do like Amon-Ra St. Brown. If I was in this tier and if I had my pick, I would probably take Amon-Ra. Just based off his situation, nothing really changed.
Yeah.
He's still the clear number 1 wide receiver. Vegas has Detroit as one of the top 5 offenses this year, and pretty much his number 2. There's just such a gap there.
So I'm gonna pause. I'm fearful of Amon because of the number 2 and his ascension, so to speak, this offseason. Jameson Williams has been being hyped.
Yeah,
I've been following the offseason and preseason pretty closely. This dude is a different animal this year. I'm gonna take a step only. Here's my wild call this season. I think there's a 1A, 1B. In terms of wide receivers over there. I know we see that typically with running backs, but I think it's going to be that kind of year for Jameson Williams. I think he's about to cook too.
He's going to eat into Amon-Ra.
I really feel like in this tier, that's going to be my safest pick. If I'm picking there, you got the questions with Justin Jefferson, Bijan Robinson, new coach. Don't really know. New quarterback. I mean, the potential is there, but a lot of question marks. I feel like the safest pick here, Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's who I would go to in this tier. And I just like that. You know, Breece Hall even kind of unproven. Can Aaron Rodgers stay healthy? Like the coaching in New York for the Jets has not been the best, and I kind of think that could be a factor in their success, and we're not really sure what that's going to look like. But of course, they obviously all have that potential to be really, really strong players.
Yep. There's an emotional grind with watching, like having a player from the Jets. I had Garrett Wilson these past 2 years, and there's like a feeling where you're just like, gotta watch the Jets. Like you just know, like oh god dang it. And it's the same
Jets.
feeling that I would think if I had Justin Jefferson. It's just like I gotta watch Sam Darnold. Like and it's I don't want to go through that. I've been through that. It's emotional. It wears on you.
But on the flip side, that was watching the Jets minus an Aaron Rodgers and this Wilson kid.
Yeah.
Who's just absolutely horrible, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that was a tough watch. But then again, if you were a Breece Hall owner, it was a great thing to watch. You know that they weren't throwing. It was going to be fed to them. And so I see Breece in this tier, again, making the argument to jump up to tier one and potentially be a number one pick.
You think about Aaron Rodgers and his running backs. When he had Aaron Jones, Aaron Jones was getting so many receptions. If he can do stuff like that with Aaron Rodgers, he's going to be a great player. He's going to possibly win some leagues. So.
And, you know, one of the arguments against that you were making for St. Brown, rather, was, you know, who else was there? He's number two. He's overshadowing him so much. But, like, in Garrett Wilson's case, who's he battling up against? You know, that makes me...
They just acquired Mike Williams,
love him
actually.
more.
Mike Williams, who is never healthy. But if he could stay healthy, Mike Williams is a good player, a good red zone target. So, I mean, we'll see what happens there with his health. But that could be someone to watch as well.
Very nice, guys. I like what you're all saying. The second half of tier 2, we have 3 more players: AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, and Jonathan Taylor. What do y'all feel about these number 9, 10, and 11 picks?
I really think after pick 8, so if Justin Jefferson slips, he shouldn't slip no further than 8, because this next tier of players, I think there's a big gap right here.
Yeah.
And pretty much I feel like there's like an elite 8 that I would feel really happy leaving the first round with, and then after this I feel uneasy. It's just I don't feel that as safe. And honestly, you can group this tier plus even a lot of the players that we're going to talk about in the next tier. Everybody has questions, from Garrett Wilson, which we kind of went over. Jonathan Taylor is an interesting one. He's been a previous first round pick, but now he has a running quarterback, right? And so how's that going to affect the running back? We know, usually they siphon away touchdowns from running backs, running quarterbacks do. And the sample size of it, he played 2 games. Anthony Richardson played 2 games last year. It's just, there's a lot of question marks there for me on Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I agree. And I think out of this group, AJ Brown, I feel like, could be a tier higher. I think in this group, I like AJ Brown. He had a stretch last year where he was just 30 points. Like, he was just putting up numbers. Not a lot is changing over there. They did pick up Saquon Barkley. I don't really think that I think that helps AJ Brown. They're gonna have to respect Saquon in the box. So I like AJ here. I think that's great value for him. Out of these guys, that's who I would probably pick right here.
I agree with the ranking of Taylor being at the lower end of that tier. I too don't have a lot of faith in him. Having said that, for his draft position, I think that's a safe pick. I think you're going to get back end RB1 numbers with him. It may not be the production you're hopeful for, but it's going to be enough and for a safe pick for what I would consider.
Sure. All right. Well said. Let's go ahead and keep moving on. We're going to go into tier 3 here. It consists of 10 players. We'll do the first 5. We have Puka Nacua, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Gibbs, and Deebo Samuel. Now, how are y'all feeling about these guys?
Man, Saquon, what do y'all think Saquon? Do you think he's going to be like...
Well, he's in Philly now, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I think he's elite still.
Yeah.
I think he could finish in that top 5, maybe. No, actually, I think he could finish probably somewhere between 3 and 7 running back.
Do y'all feel that the tush push that goal line, like he's not gonna get the goal line stuff, right? Like they're still gonna. I know Jason Kelsey isn't there. I don't know how big a part in the tush push he played. If a new center is gonna take that out of their arsenal, but that's something I'd be concerned with. Is like I want the guy getting the goal line carries.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm just not sure. I mean, he's in a great offense, and they're gonna run the football. He's a great receiving running back, obviously.
You think he's more of a workhorse?
He's absolutely the workhorse. It's just a question of at the goal line. Is he gonna when they're on the 1 yard line? Is he even gonna? Are those points going to him?
I think that was the mindset though last year with the running backs they had. Like you're not handing the ball between the 3 yard line and the 1 to Swift.
Sure.
You know he's China Doll. You know, and then behind him, Kenneth Gainwell, China Doll. I think they have a proven track record of injury history. And when you did have a Jason Kelsey with the tush push and how successful it was, no brainer.
Right.
But now you got Saquon Barkley.
But he also has a history of injury.
His history of injury, but he has a lower center of gravity. He's a thicker build. I think he has the body to hold up to goal line carries compared to who they've had in the past. And I think that completely shifts mindset. And I think now they have to start considering Hurts' health. You know, they were able to pull that off in the first few seasons, but how much longer are they going to be able to get away with that?
Sure. And I mean, that play was just unstoppable. I don't know why you move away from it unless it was just for health concerns. So, I mean, if it's me, I'm kind of wary of the goal line stuff. He's in a great offense. He's going to put up points, but that's my one concern for Saquon Barkley is he getting the goal line touches?
What do y'all feel about Puka Nacua?
I love Puka.
I'm down on
Puka. Do you think he's going to repeat?
I love Puka. I
what
like
he did
Puka.
his first year?
I'll let you take this one first. And I
like
follow.
Puka. He did have some little injury concerns in the preseason. You know, obviously coming off a great rookie season, he's still got Matt Stafford throwing him the ball.
Yep.
Cooper Kupp's back. Cooper Kupp's healthy. You know, we saw a lot of his production when Cooper Kupp was out.
Which we haven't talked about yet.
Right.
Note that.
Right.
No
right.
Cooper Kupp
He's
yet.
fallen off quite a bit. We'll see if he can get back to his former levels of production. But I like Puka. He's got a great quarterback. He's got a good offensive coach. They're going to find ways to get him the ball. I like him. I don't think, you know, if he stays healthy, I think he'll be productive, and I think he's going at a reasonable value right there.
Okay. At the 12 pick, I think that's reasonable for him.
I think so.
So I can agree with the value. I'm not picking him there though. If that was my choice.
Sure.
What makes me down on Nacua is he came in off of his rookie year, and you only know what you know. People didn't know about Puka Nacua. Now they know.
Yeah.
You know, and again, to bring back up, played a good portion of the season minus Cooper Kupp.
Mm-hmm.
Now enter into the equation Cooper Kupp. You know, what does this look like? They have a great running game going on right now with Kyron Williams, an amazing backup behind Kyron. I don't think they abandoned the running game by any means. Matthew Stafford's at the end of his career. Sure. I'm big on drafting receivers based off who their quarterbacks are.
Yep.
Not to say that Stafford's a dog or anything, but I just think that his better days are behind him. And so that alone scares me for not just Puka, but for Kupp too. So just my 2 cents.
Yeah. And I like Stafford. You know, he's propped up 2 of the best wide receiver performances ever. Like the greatest fantasy seasons in Calvin Johnson and Cooper Kupp. And I don't think, you know, he's older. I don't think it's really anything to be slept on though. Just because he's older, until he shows us something, until he shows us that he's regressing, I don't think there's any reason to discount Matt Stafford.
Well, I want to say that he just got injured too a couple weeks ago, so that scares me a bit too.
That could be a concern. I hadn't heard anything about that, but yeah, that could be something to monitor for sure.
All right. Well, how do we feel about Derrick Henry over at Baltimore?
I love that.
You like that? Are y'all cool picking him at pick 13?
That's a great.
I'm cool with picking him at pick 8.
That's it. And, you know,
pick 8?
Yeah.
So you would reach for him then?
Absolutely. You know, I mean, you only can. If that's who you want, that's my solid advice of the day. If you know who you want and you're not going to get him on the back end, go get him.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Not, the people around you might say it's a reach, but that's not a reach for you if that's the player you're targeting and you have your reasons why.
Projections are only projections. Yeah. If you think someone's going to have a great year, go get them. Like, these numbers don't matter. If you feel it, go get them. Yeah.
Have you seen the Baltimore Ravens run numbers? How often they're running?
High volume.
High volume.
High volume. And you could make the case Derrick Henry's getting up there in years, but this is just one of those freaks, man. He's built like a truck. He's in a power style running offense.
How old is he?
He's probably like, what is he? Almost 30?
He's up there.
29?
He's up there.
29?
He's probably
he
29 or
breaks that
30.
28 rule, Brian. What the hell is that?
There's outliers, and
That's a good point.
you know, last year Derrick Henry, which I was down on Henry last year, and my case was that he was behind the worst offensive line in Tennessee.
Yeah.
But some players are just offensive line proof or
They're
quarterback
different.
proof. They're just different,
They're
and
just
obviously
different.
Derrick Henry is one of those different players, and if you think. If Gus Edwards did what he did with, I think he had double-digit touchdowns last year. Gus Edwards did, you know. Now replace that with Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
like something's gonna happen. I think his floor is like a minimum 10 touchdowns. He could surely go over that.
Yeah,
So
and he had a great season with Will Levis and a bad offensive
yeah.
line, and now he's got Lamar Jackson and a strong.
He's in an
Ravens O-line.
arguable top 3 offensive line
Right.
now. I mean, that's licking my
So,
chops.
I'm loving Derrick Henry. I think you know, he's a little older, but I don't think there's any reason to hesitate with picking Derrick Henry.
I think right here in this, according to the Fantasy Football Pros, I don't think I would take Henry in this area, just because I like Gibbs a lot more than Henry.
Yeah, which I was going to bring up real quick. How do we feel about number 15 and 16 being Gibbs and Deebo Samuel?
Give me Gibbs over, or not Gibbs. Excuse me. Give me Henry over Gibbs.
Henry
halfway
over
there.
Gibbs?
Give me Henry over.
I think
Gibbs.
that's the safer pick.
Gibbs just got injured. He's in a timeshare. David Montgomery isn't going anywhere. Who I don't know if we'll get a chance to talk about him, but give me discount David all day, every day. If you can get him in round 5, pull the trigger on that. Like, who knows if Jameer can stay healthy? He's still the goal line back. Should be the goal line back. I mean, we did see Jameer vulture a couple, but I still like David for the discount. Derrick Henry is the man in Baltimore, and give me Henry over Gibbs for sure.
I'm in agreement with
You
that.
agree with that?
Yeah.
I like. I think if you're making the case for Gibbs, right? So you're going off of the offense, right? Vegas has Detroit as one of the top offenses, so you know they're going to be scoring points, right? Jameer Gibbs gets passing work, which that's the one thing that Derrick Henry doesn't get. So with Derrick Henry, you're relying on touchdowns, which he is an outlier. He can constantly put up touchdowns every year, but that's just one of the stats that are just unreliable from year to year. How many touchdowns is this person going to get? And so with Derrick Henry, you're betting on, okay, he's going to get over 10 plus touchdowns, and that's what you're betting on. I would rather just take the volume with Jameer Gibbs. Volume.
He said volume?
Volume with passing downs.
He's in a timeshare.
But
He's in a timeshare, and Derrick Henry is in one of the highest like run percent offenses. Like
Sure.
I think in sheer, if we're talking volume, you got to go Derrick Henry.
no, but
In
Derrick Henry
PPR,
gets,
too. I think
in
you have to
PPR,
consider
I guess.
Full-point
the
PPR.
receptions.
we're doing half, and most leagues are probably half, but yeah, you're getting the passing down work, which passing down work is so much more valuable than.
I already
than
know.
one
Next
attempt.
year, get ready, Brian.
Get ready.
Eating crow on Jameer Gibbs over Derrick Henry.
Jameer.
Take
Give me
that one to
Jameer
the
Gibbs.
bank.
Take it to the bank. Someone put it in the
Take it to the
comments.
Put it-
Who we wanna
yeah,
see.
yeah. Well, that will be served up for someone's crow. But yeah, give me Jameer Gibbs. I want the offense that plays in a dome, that pretty much that a running back that's gonna get the passing down, that's gonna get carries. Give me Gibbs.
On that note, let's go ahead and take a quick break, and we'll come back and finish up Tier 3.
Hey there. I just want to take a second to thank you for watching the Elite Four podcast. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe because that really helps our channel grow. And if you're feeling extra generous, share us with a friend. Tell your mom about us. Tell anyone. We greatly appreciate you here at Elite Four. Now back to the podcast.
All right, welcome back to our fantasy football preseason show. I want to say we were in the middle of Tier 3. We'll probably just do the first 4 tiers because we're already about 30 minutes in, and I'm not trying to keep everyone here for fucking 2 fucking hours, right? So let's kind of just pick up where we left off. We're in the second half of Tier 3. We have Kyren Williams? Kyren Williams. Sorry. Josh Allen, Harrison Jr. for Arizona, Mike Evans, and Brandon Ayuk. Now, here's the first time we see something other than a wide receiver or a running back with Josh Allen's as a quarterback. Also, I think it's kind of crazy that we're seeing a quarterback before we see a tight end. So that's kind of interesting, I guess, on this one. No Travis Kelce or anyone. We've talked about it. No tight ends at all. But yet we have a quarterback. How do y'all feel about these 5 players?
Real quick, we didn't get a chance to talk about Debo Samuel
on the
last. And Debo, I think with CMC being out, Brandon Ayuk, is he going to be there? If Brandon Ayuk is out, if CMC misses time, he's going to be the man on that offense. We could see him coming out the backfield. He could have a very high volume. There are those question marks. I'm loving Debo Samuel right here. If I have the opportunity to get Debo Samuel right here, this could be the best year he's had in a while, and he had some good years. So I think I like Debo Samuel here. I think he's in position to have a high touch percentage in this offense. And that's a good offense to be a part of. So I like Debo Samuel here. What do y'all think about him?
I think that was well said.
Yeah.
And also a lot depends on where Brandon Ayuk ends up.
Yeah, that's a big part of it too.
Yeah.
So is he for sure leaving San Francisco?
He doesn't seem
Not
happy.
for sure, but yeah.
He doesn't seem like he wants to be there.
At this recording, we don't know where he's going to end up.
He looks like he's chasing that money.
He's
and
more
they
than
don't
welcome to come to the Steelers.
And they don't really. It doesn't look like they really want to give him that money. So I don't know if he's just unhappy, if he doesn't like people there, or what the deal is. I think he just wants to get paid. So
yeah. But to follow up on your point, we have Josh Allen making an appearance here in this tier. For me, I think last year proved that there's just so much QB value, and that at this early in the draft, I don't want to. I'm okay with kind of punting on the QB, getting someone in the back end that could have a top 5 performance. Like for example, last year that would have been Jordan Love, who went the back end of the draft and finished at number 5. So you can find that value back there. I would rather just get one of these studs. Pretty much.
100% agree. Yeah. And now we have Josh Allen. He lost a bunch of weapons. He lost Gabe Davis. He lost Stephon Diggs. Who's he going to throw to?
They're really relying on his goal line work.
Right. You're really taking him for his legs there. And I just totally agree with Brian. You like the talent you're passing up here when you could get a quarterback for good value much later in the draft. I completely agree with what Brian said.
Do you think
here.
that's why he's so high on this list, because he is going to get a lot of the goal line work?
Absolutely is why. I mean, I think they're anticipating that his legs will always be a factor.
Yeah.
But I also, again, I think it all comes down to mindset. If you're in draft strategy, a lot of people aren't into taking a quarterback early, especially to Brian's note with how deep it is on that back half. And so, I don't think you can go wrong, depending on your approach to the draft.
Yeah, and even if your mindset is, I want to lock down the best quarterback here, I don't think anything is really saying that Josh Allen is going to be the best quarterback when you still have guys like Jalen Hurts, who's coming off a great year, gets tons of red zone rushing touchdowns. And then you have guys like, a little early to be talking about him maybe, but Anthony Richardson, who we haven't really seen what he's going to do. He could potentially be, and my hot take, he could potentially be the number 1 quarterback this year. And then still guys like Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. It's like, do you really want to pass up the other talent and the skill positions here to take Josh Allen? For me personally, I think I would rather not. I'd rather get some talent in the RB wide receiver position. But
and say out of that group of studs that you just mentioned, Migs, Kyron Williams.
Yes.
Out of all those names, that's the one that stands out to me. If I had to choose between any of those names at that position in the draft, I'm going Williams, and that's even if I went RB in my first couple.
And he was a monster waiver wire pickup last year, basically free league winner. Like if you picked him up and you drafted well, you probably won your league. He was a monster. People are down on him this year. I'm not really sure why. They did draft a running back, I think, pretty high. I'm not really sure why you would be down on him so much. I like Kyron Williams. I agree with what Tyler said. I think he's going to be he's going to have a great fantasy year.
Great year.
Proven stud,
which I was the beneficiary of finding that gym last year.
Yes, he was.
20 point plus pretty much every week. He was great. But I think the one thing is that they just expect injuries, which he was out for, I think, maybe 4 games last year. They did draft, like you mentioned, another running back. But, Sean McVay, he's known to kind of just go all in with one running back. He's that guy. He likes a workhorse. So I do love Kyron this year. I think he's proven. I think at this, the one question for me, so these remaining guys, we know Brandon Ayuk's we don't know where he's going. Mike Evans, sure, like 10 times 1,000 yards, whatever. We already know what he is. But they have Marvin Harrison Jr., who's a rookie. And I want to say that I heard this from doing some research, that this is the highest they ever had a rookie wide receiver in the rankings, kind of here in the end of round 2, depending on your league size. How do y'all feel about Marvin Harrison Jr.?
So I think he's getting this ranking based off of his historic run that he had in college, who his dad is, and his run that he had in the NFL. I think also because who the heck else is there over there in Arizona to catch that ball from Kyler Murray?
It's him and the tight end, McBride.
And so I think that fact alone is going to equate to volume. And in fantasy, volume produces. And so I think that's a good, safe pick around there. I think between those other wide receivers, Evans and Ayuk, he would be my pick between the three.
Harrison.
I think you're taking a little chance.
Yeah.
You know, we have seen rookie wide receivers have great years. We just had Puka. Like when Odell Beckham first came into the league, he was a great value. He had a great season his rookie year. We're kind of want to wonder, like, is Kyler, like, he's not a big guy. Like, he just came off a major injury. Is he going to be okay? I think you're taking a risky pick here, but it could definitely pay off.
And to the comparison, Kyler compared to Baker, who's throwing to Mike.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Kyler all day there.
Okay.
And then even Purdy to Ayuk. Though Purdy is proven and he's a good game manager, he's not really known to throw a huge deep ball. Sure. And Ayuk, again, the major question mark over his head. I think Harrison Jr. is the safest amongst those names.
Wow.
Yeah, I agree.
I would say the safe pick is Mike. There's not a lot changing over there. There's not a lot changing over there in Tampa Bay. I think if you're really playing safe, if you're really risk adverse, you're going to take Mike Evans here. But if you're a gambling man, if you think I'm going to take a chance, if you're okay with a little risk, Marvin Harrison has potential to be a top 3, maybe even number 1 as a rookie. That's kind of crazy to say. Now that I say it out loud, but it could happen.
It could be flashbacks to the back end of brain fart, St. Brown's rookie year.
Yeah.
I mean, look how he came alive the back end of the year, and he was producing top 5 wide receiver fantasy numbers.
And there's no one else in Arizona. They've got a bad defense. They probably should be throwing a lot. He's a freak. He's like what, 6'4", 6'5", like huge red zone target, can run.
Genetically, he's there.
Yeah, he's there. Yeah. So
I see arguments for both, man.
It's just a second round draft capital investment. That's the difference compared to like Amon-Ra and all those other ones. Like, you're investing a second round pick.
He could exceed that value, but there's a lot of question marks. So
it's scary.
Again,
but I probably pass on it. Honestly, I wouldn't take that risk on my second round with a rookie.
You wouldn't go Harrison? Second round? I got Bernie last year with Bijan. I did Bijan. What did I go with? Bijan Robinson, first round.
He did pretty well though. He finished.
I mean, he didn't do round 1 numbers.
no,
Probably low RB1 numbers. Yeah.
But you know what? I think I said you shouldn't gamble on your first round pick, and I gambled.
Which you know
and
what?
I paid for it.
I ate some crow earlier, but I just want to take this time to go back and say, told you so. About Bijan.
Yeah, that's right. Gage
But I mean, I think he'll do better this year. I mean, Tyler Allgeier's still around, better quarterback, different coach, which is kind of a question mark, but I think he'll do better.
Yep.
don't downplay Arthur Smith's running scheme. Just saying.
All right. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and move on. We're moving on in tier 4. Tier 4 is a pretty big tier. We'll just do the top. We'll just do 5 players at a time, and we'll kind of touch on how we feel about all of these. We have Nico Collins at 22, followed by Chris Olave, Jalen Hurts, Drake London at 25, and number 26 we have Etienne Jr.
I think with this tier, you could just say that at this point, if you're, Nico Collins is 22. At the very end of this tier is Devon Achane at 37. At this point, it's whatever. I don't think there's any order. I think if you can take Devon Achane right here, you can, and Nico Collins could fall to the end. It's just like question marks across the board. So there's just
based on roster need.
Yeah.
Too, at this point,
Yeah,
you're now 3 to 4 rounds in, once you get to this tier, depending on who you've drafted or positionally, would be a big reason on any of these names that you would pull from.
I will say that one name sticks out to me who I will not draft. The one player who I would just stay away from here is going to be Chris Olave. I think I just don't like Carr. I don't think he's good. I think the Saints have one of the worst offensive lines in the league. I think I'm just gonna for the other names here, I'm gonna fade Olave, and that's not saying he can't have some good games, but considering the names in this pool right here, that's gonna be my one who I'd probably stay away from.
You would go Drake London over Olave?
He's kind of second to me right there. It's like there's a lot of question marks. Kirk Cousins ought to have a good year. He ought to be better, but to me, that's another. He could have a great season, but it's just question marks. Like to me, I'd rather have Nico. I'd rather have Nico Collins. And people are scared because Stephon Diggs is showing up. That doesn't
a lot of
scare me.
mouths to feed in Houston.
Yeah,
Dude.
the Houston situation's interesting.
Doesn't
It is interesting. You have what?
Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs,
and fucking Nico Collins.
and
I'm going down that list and considering Devontae Adams before any of those names.
Wow.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Now we know that Gardner Minshew's the starting quarterback over
Absolutely.
there. I mean, Devontae Adams is still one of the best receivers in the league. He could be great value here. He seems like he's losing some of his like sexiness to his pick, right? People are kind of just like the Raiders passing game, people are kind of down on Devontae.
It's
All
the
right, so let's
emotional-
play this
yeah.
game.
Okay.
Devontae or Chris Olave?
Oh,
Devontae.
brother. Come on, brother.
Devontae or Drake London?
Devontae.
Devontae or Nico Collins?
I think you get an argument. I think that's more 50-50.
I'm
probably Devontae.
I'm going Devontae
Yeah.
for the
Damn.
sheer fact
God, brother. I had Devontae
that
last.
Diggs is there.
God, dude, he was so painful to own last year, and it's just because, and it's probably the inept quarterback play,
Yeah,
and hopefully
you gotta
Gardner
watch it.
Gardner
This is a
Minshew.
big question mark.
He was
for
so.
me, though, dude.
It was like one of those situations where Brian was talking about earlier. Like you're invested in the Jets, you're invested in these bad quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And I don't think Gardner Minshew's bad. I think he's actually pretty underrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But
I'm going to take it back to last night's preseason game with the Texans. That was the first true look with the amount of playing time that they had for you to see what they were going to do with their wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 in terms of Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs. And I think you got to see a true example of a 1A, 1B. I think, don't quote me here, but I want to say they each received roughly 88% of the snaps. And that was both lined up in 2-2 setups, 2-1s, and 1-2s. So I really think they're going to treat them as equals.
so
I don't know if they have enough targets to go around, especially with the running game that they just gained.
So would you think that out of that situation, Tank Dell is going to be the loser then? You think
No,
he's
I
gonna see
definitely
less
think
time on
he's the
field?
wide receiver 3. I wouldn't call him the loser because, again, defenses know what they know. They know they got 2 studs in Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs. I think if Dell's being utilized in the slot, his shiftiness and his speed is going to lose a lot of those middle linebackers and whatnot who will be covering him most of the time. And I think that translates to definitely some success. But because of the numbers game, if I'm not in a position where I have to draft a wide receiver, I'm not, if those were the wide receivers that I'm faced up with, I'm not drafting a Texans wide receiver just because of the nervousness that it makes me feel.
I'm avoiding that whole situation. There's just too many mouths to feed. Plus the addition of Joe Mixon, who, clogged up, Cincinnati's. He, could very well do the same. It's just too many people, and there's never been 3 fantasy wide receivers from one team make the top 24. So one of them's going to lose.
If there was a time, it's probably the Peyton Manning days with like Austin Collie, Reggie Wayne, and then Dallas Clark. Those guys were lighting it up. I mean, it's C.J. Stroud, Peyton Manning.
I'm say, that was Peyton Manning.
Right.
So someone's going to
Right.
lose out. And Tank Dell is a couple of tiers behind this, but to take Nico right here, maybe at the end of the second, beginning of the third, depending on your size, I would just avoid the whole thing. And like you said, just give me Devontae Adams, who I know they're just going to funnel all the targets.
And I know he's a little lower on this list
Yeah.
and tier, but in just my opinion, when you pair him up like that and play that little game, who or who, it just makes more sense to go Devontae in every one of those scenarios.
I think you've sold me on Devontae here. I think these guys, I feel so. Just owning him last year was so tough, but I think the situation has changed, and he's still a freak athlete.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not scared of the Texans situation.
Mm.
Like,
Wow, okay.
I would still not be afraid to take Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs. I think you could pick any one of those and not be like, I don't know who the clear guy is over there. I think you pick any one of those guys and they'll be good for where they're going. I'd still take them over Olave, still take them over Drake London. But I'm not scared. They're going to be a good offense, and I think they're gonna have a good fantasy season. I think all three of them can. They're all going to have explosive games, I think.
At that, you're probably the best value then is probably Tank Dell because you're
Probably
getting
so.
him probably around 5 or 6 compared to
Probably so.
Nico.
Agreed.
Yeah.
You're investing
so.
second or third.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to the next set of 5 players. Now, there are some names in this next set that I like that I would even draft above the guys that we just talked about. And that's going to be at number 27, Isaiah Pacheco, Sam Laporta, Devontae Adams, and DK Metcalf. Was that 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Right? Oh,
We had
one
Jalen.
more.
We had Jalen.
And Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. Did we talk about Jalen Hurts?
We didn't.
We did it.
You know what? I'm going to,
Oh, yeah.
like, for Jalen Hurts, pretty much see Josh Allen.
See
Right.
Josh Allen.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And I like his weapons a little more. I'll probably go Jalen Hurts over Josh Allen. Is that crazy?
No.
No.
I think we'd be stupid to bet against Mahomes
But-
in that group of names.
But you know what? What if they don't do the tush push this year? What if Saquon is getting the goal? Like, what happens
Yeah.
then? That hurts Jalen's value
Yep.
big time. So,
I don't think we've seen this amount of weapons around Mahomes since his historic
is
fantasy
true.
seasons.
this is true.
I think this is the season that he gets back to form.
Mm-hmm.
If you are somebody who takes high stake in drafting a quarterback early, Mahomes, in my opinion, is the guy to take above all the quarterbacks we've talked about,
this
specifically because the weapons around
And this
him.
is a guy who has legs too. Like,
Absolutely.
I mean, he don't really think of him like Jalen Hurts or Josh Allen running the ball, but he can take off. He'll get you some rushing yards.
Yeah.
And he had a down year last year, but he's got more weapons. And, you know, talking about guys like Isaiah Pacheco, like if you owned him last year, he kind of got off to a slow start. You kind of saw some of those second string guys behind him get a little more touches. But towards the middle of the season, he really picked up. And I think, you know, the addition of those weapons are going to open him up. They're going to run the football. He's going to catch the ball, I think. And I think he's going to be solid.
Absolutely. And
Some good running back value right here with ETN and Pacheco. I really like those picks.
Yeah, I do too.
I personally like Pacheco a little bit more just because I like the offense he's on.
Yeah.
I like his quarterback a little bit better. How do y'all feel about Laporta?
This is a good conversation. First tight end to appear on the in the ranks. For me, it's a little too rich. I think this is similar to the QB case where there's just value there's so much value with tight ends now. Last year, for example, I picked up the Jacksonville tight end, Evan Ingram. Picked him up probably in the 8 to 10 rounds, somewhere way back there, finished as the tight end 2, right? So it's just like you can find gems back there. I'm investing a 3rd round draft capital in a tight end who we may see, Laporta had so many touchdowns last year, and we talked about that stat where it's hard to replicate that from year to year. Probably going to see some regression on that, but if you take him here, if you take the risk, I don't blame you, but I'm just personally not doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with tight ends, there's a clear elite and then a solid drop off, though, right? So it's like, do you want to reach for an elite tight end spot, or would you rather find value somewhere else and just kind of go with the herd?
If we're talking
tight
about
ends?
the value here, for guys like Pacheco, ETN, it's going to be harder to find these running backs later. Who are some of the wide receivers in this little pool here?
Oh yeah, Devontae Adams, DK Metcalf.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure about DK. He's still got Geno Smith throwing him the ball, right?
Yeah.
And
He'll be consistent.
he'll be solid.
Yeah.
To me, I think I'd rather like the names I like here are Pacheco and ETN.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
That's who I like out of this group. I agree with taking the value at tight end later in the draft. Sam Laporta, I think he's going to be solid, but we could, like Brian said, see some touchdown regression, which could hurt his value. But I think he's a safe pick. If you want to lock down that tight end position, he's probably the front runner for number 1 tight end. I like him. I wouldn't hate it if you took me personally. I would rather take the skill position value here with a running back or wide receiver.
absolutely. I think ETN is probably at the top of my list out of that group of names for the sheer fact of volume, Again, for the skilled positions, depending on your draft, if you are running back desperate at this point, go and get you that running back right now. Tight ends fairly deep this season. And like Migs was saying, if there's a top 3 tier, you got your Kelsey, Laporta, and Mark Andrews. If you don't even if you walk in with the idea of you're not getting any of those 3, go skilled position all day.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that tight end on the back end.
I agree.
But even then, like, if you leave with McBride and Kittle, you're probably still feeling happy, which are
Yeah.
rounds
Happy.
later.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like,
Yeah, I feel like there's more depth now to tight
Yeah.
ends. I feel like a few years ago there was only 3 tight ends you could pick, and everybody else was dog shit.
Yeah.
And you're just like, yeah, whatever. But yeah, I feel like things are a little bit different now. Let's go ahead and move on unless y'all have anything else to say. We'll do the last portion of Tier 4. We are going to start off with Lamar Jackson, Jalen Waddle, DJ Moore, Travis Kelce, Cooper Kupp, and A-Chain. And that would be number 37.
I feel like we see a little bit of a fall off here, right? This is where things, like, you can kind of see the talent kind of drop here a little. And you say that like a guy
It wanes a little bit, right?
like Travis Kelce, like he's gonna have a bounce back year. He's not gonna have a year like last year. I think maybe you might be getting Kelce for a steal right here.
Absolutely.
I don't
I
think
think-
Kelce ever goes this far deep.
Never. He was a first round.
I don't
second round
think
pick
I don't think
last
he
year.
will this year. I think when it comes time to actually draft it, I think Kelce might go a little further than that. And this is my opinion.
I think that's a good assumption.
Yeah.
I think with his track record
And just the hype, people, he's reliable. I mean,
and if
come
you're
on,
somebody
man.
who's drafted Kelsey in the past and you've
Yeah.
seen the effect that he has on
he's
a week to
won
week
leagues
basis,
for people.
you're gonna go in not even caring about what numbers next to his name, and you're
Yeah.
just gonna go get him.
Yeah.
I don't think you can go wrong getting Kelsey.
And I wouldn't argue it. I'd be like, damn, solid pick, Travis Kelce, solid pick.
But Devon A-Chain, boys, the athleticism.
The
The
explosiveness.
Dolphins, dude. The Dolphins offense. It's hot.
this is the most riskiest pick, I think, in the entire draft.
What, A-Chain?
Yes.
At 37?
Yes.
Man, I kind of
But,
like it.
I think in home leagues, and we feel this in our league, someone's going to reach for HN. There's no way he's going to be here at this point of the draft. Someone's going to, just because his ceiling could be
Potential
the number
value.
1 running back. His ceiling's high. He has so many potential
He's flashed
outcomes.
Jamal Charles
Yes.
type
Yes.
games.
Yes. He has the potential to be the number 1, but then you also think, okay, there's Mostert, there's Achane, who had the most efficient running back season of any, like, just crazy for the volume, the low amount of volume for the amount of
Right.
points and yards he got. Can he repeat that? The numbers say no, but you're taking that risk. Maybe he is one of the best running backs
Yeah, and
of
they
all
did
time.
draft a running back pretty early.
Yep.
You don't really know how those carries are going to shake out, but this guy is explosive. So, and he's on a high power offense, one of the highest scoring offenses. I think it's worth the risk.
Are you a gambling man?
Are
It
you
goes
a
back to are you a
I
gambling
think it
man?
might be worth the risk here.
If I was a gambler and went 2 running backs at this point, and I'm getting into my 3rd or 4th round, and I'm looking for a flex, I would consider A-Chain as a flex as opposed to going out and finding that receiver out of this tier.
Yeah,
So would you go A-Chain over Cooper Kupp?
I would.
I would.
I
think
would.
I would too.
Okay.
Let's do this. What about Achan and let's say ETN sitting there?
I'm still going to go ETN,
Still ETN?
for the safer pick.
I think.
Um,
Man, you could make the argument.
There's definitely an argument to be
You
made.
could make the argument.
I mean, do you win leagues by making safe picks though? Do you?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
It's like, do you want to win or get third?
I'd rather take a,
Yeah.
I'd rather take a
that's
safe
what
pick,
man.
safe pick
Safe
early
pick,
and get a
yeah.
home run hitter that's unexpected at the end.
I mean, if you take a risk and it doesn't work out, that's not.
Yeah,
It's not a-
I think I just like gambling towards the end. I feel like I play safe for the first 2 to 3 rounds, and then I'm all like, all right, let's fucking take some shots.
If you get Achan here and if he's exactly how he was last season, Jesus Christ, you're gonna be on a
Yeah.
You're gonna be tearing through the league.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
I like Achan. I think he could be the number 1 running back.
Could be. It's a potential outcome for him.
He could be.
Yeah.
He was having 40-point games. I mean, if he's doing that, but can he stay healthy? Like he did
Yeah.
have some health concerns last year.
There's the risk.
It's risky, but I think if you see him here, you got to take him. He's explosive.
He's just different.
He is. He
different,
really
dude.
is.
All right, one person we haven't talked about on this list is DJ Moore at 34.
I like DJ.
Oh man, Caleb Williams. He's been looking good in the preseason. You know what? I just got some bias towards the Bears. I don't even think it's the talent there. I don't even think it's the talent. I think it's the coaching staff. It's the front office. It's this pathetic organization. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
The Bears,
Every
dude.
Bear
I
fan
don't
just
wanna
like
watch the
clicked
Bears.
off our video.
No,
right
they know.
there.
They know. They know. They know better than anybody.
Yep.
And I don't. You got the question marks of a rookie quarterback. You've got Keenan Allen on the other side of him, who's he's a volume hawk. They drafted rookie Rome Odunze, something like that.
Yeah.
Odunze.
I think
DJ Moore is a talented wide receiver. I think he could be. It's a risk. It's another risk. And for me, I'm just turned off for the organization itself, the coaching staff, the front office. That's kind of what turns me off to the Bears.
understandable.
Yeah.
Totally want to fade the Bears after
Right.
hearing all that.
Yeah.
But DJ Moore has proven he is not fazed by whoever is at quarterback.
Sure.
He is quarterback proof as far as I'm concerned, and that's a hard thing to
Sure.
say in 2024.
Sure.
He didn't. Justin Fields, I'm sorry, Steelers fan, trash at throwing the long ball. DJ Moore made him look godly at
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
You know, take it back. Who was before Fields? I don't even remember. It doesn't matter. He sucked. It's the
Yeah.
Bears,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
we know that he had success in. And then he played with Carolina, and Carolina did not have a good track
What
record.
is the Bears stat where they don't have a quarterback who's passed for over like some amount of yards? They're like passing. They're like the worst passing franchise in NFL history. It's like, could this be the year they turn it around with Caleb Williams?
I think Caleb Williams is the best prospect they've had back there in a long time, and we've seen what he's done with who they've had. I like DJ Moore here.
I think it's if you went running back, and then you're coming around here, and you're deciding between DJ Moore, Cooper Kupp. I probably lean Kupp, but let's say Kupp's gone. You're like, crap, I'm going to need a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Give me DJ Moore. Yeah, sure.
Have y'all watched any of the Hard Knocks this season?
No, I haven't.
You know, DJ Moore, there's this clip that's blowing up online right now about how he does some dog work on the field, and then he pops up saying, you know, I love football. And to me, that resonates
Yeah.
not only as a
Yeah.
fan, but from a fantasy perspective. I want
You love that.
dog mentality,
Yeah.
knowing that I'm playing for the Chicago Bears, the shitty organization, but I'm still going to go and ball out
Yeah.
every day. I'm not in
Yeah.
it for necessarily a paycheck. I think that's a lot to be said for a player, and I like DJ Moore.
Sure.
All right, well, let's go ahead and take one more break, and then we'll come back and we'll wrap this bad boy up.
Sure.
This episode is sponsored by Del Papa, an Anheuser-Busch distributor here in Victoria, Texas. They distribute things like Bud Light, Budweiser, Michelob Ultra, even things like Twisted Tea. Dylan, what do you have?
I have Monster. Unleash the Beast.
Oh, that must be Monster's new seltzer. Wow.
Yummy. It's very tasty.
What about you, Obs?
I'm drinking a Tampico Hard Punch Fiesta of flavor. This is the island flavor. It's very tropical. It's got a lot of pineapple in it. But it's delicious, and it would go very well with another alcohol, even though this has 8% in it already. So try it by itself first, and then maybe add it to a drink. Like this one.
Oh, fuck.
Nice. Hell yeah. She added to vodka and water.
Honestly, it's pretty good. It's
Real
actually
good.
really good. I was like, it's actually really good, and they have other flavors. Check it out.
And call me Ronald McDonald because I'm getting Mick twisted.
And Nina's an idiot.
Oh yeah, Nina's not drinking. Editor, just have a Michelob Ultra just go in her mouth.
Yeah, shove it in her mouth.
So thank you, Del Papa, for sponsoring the E4 podcast.
Yes.
Cheers to you, Del Papa.
Cheers to Del Papa.
Hell
Cheers
yeah,
to Del
cheers
Papa.
to it, Del
There you
Papa.
go. Cheers.
Cheers. Now,
Cheers. Thank you, Del Papa.
back to the podcast. All right, welcome back to the E4 Fantasy Football preseason show. We're here to wrap things up. Well, we have 3 more names on our top 40 list that we want to talk about, and that's going to be Amari Cooper. Is it Devontae Smith for Philadelphia? Yeah. And Josh Jacobs at the Green Bay Packers now. How do we feel about these three last players?
These are some interesting picks right here. I think Josh Jacobs is going to do great in Green Bay. I don't think there's any reason, every year they've been saying A.J. Dillon is going to start eating up. They didn't pay Josh Jacobs to come over there. They didn't pay him what he did to, succeed touches to A.J. Dillon. I think he's gonna eat over there. That Green Bay offenses look good. I think they're only getting better. So I really like Josh Jacobs.
I agree. And you think about who they lost in terms of Aaron Jones and the receiving ability that he brought to the backfield, and Dillon ain't doing that.
Right.
So does that mean that equates to Josh Jacobs getting more of the receptions, which is different than what we saw in the past with Oakland? And if so, I'm on the Jacobs train because that could be some good stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Josh Jacobs, he can catch a ball. So I think he's a solid pick here.
Yeah.
I think so. Yep.
Yeah, and then Amari Cooper, he's getting up there in years. They just added, who did the Browns go? Jerry Jeudy. They just added Jerry Jeudy over there. Deshaun Watson should be back and starting, which he was underwhelming last year before his injury.
And let's be real, we can't shit on the Bears without shitting on the Browns.
gotta
They're the
shit on the
Browns.
Browns.
they're always going to be the Browns. The Browns
True.
will brown. And this is coming from a Steelers fan perspective. That is the mentality. The Browns will brown. Doesn't matter what their preseason hype is going into the year, or what names they have on that roster. They will always find a way to fuck things up.
I agree, but man, I think Amari Cooper is one of the most underrated receivers in the league.
It's because he won you the championship last year.
Well, he's always been doing these things. Like he's always been
Because he put up 50 for you.
He
That
did put up that little 45-50 in the playoffs, which
Yeah.
God bless him. God bless
That's
him.
a one-off.
It might have been. I think with Deshaun Watson back, he should still be getting a lot of targets. I think he's a solid, strong pick. He is getting up there in years. He did spend a lot of time with a Q next to his name last year. Missed a couple games, but I like Amari Cooper, and I'm trying not to be biased. I think, but he's still on a. I don't like the Browns, but I think he's going to be good. He's going to have a good fantasy year if he stays healthy.
This is my most biased analysis. Don't like the guy.
The Steelers
From a
fan
pure
doesn't like the
fandom
Browns.
perspective.
Steelers fan does not like the Browns. This just
Steelers fans
Wow.
This just
doesn't
in.
like the Browns.
And then who was the other receiver right there?
Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith. I think that's good value for him right
Absolutely.
I
Love
like both of
Devontae.
them.
Yeah, not a bad pick at all, right?
there. Are we
like him.
going Amari over Devontae?
Going
No.
Devontae over Mari.
Yes.
If I'm being completely honest, I'm going George Pickens, who I know is not in this tier.
Over
all of them.
Jesus
Over all
Christ,
those
dude.
names. The freakish
That's the most biased
athleticism.
thing I've ever
It
heard.
says the Steelers fans, right?
It could happen.
Just saying.
It could happen. But if it's me, I think I'm going Amari over Devontae.
I'll see y'all back here next year to tell y'all I told you
Yeah.
so.
I told you so. Eat your
We'll
crow.
put that one down.
Yeah, that's a hot take. Yeah.
All right, well, let's go ahead and let's talk about some sleepers, some league winners that aren't on the top 40. I have a couple of players here that I would like to mention. If y'all have any, please feel free to mention them. I'm going to start off with quarterbacks. I picked two quarterbacks that are my first one is Jordan Love.
Yep.
Jordan Love went real late last season on the draft. Is he going late again this season? I feel like some people still sleep on Jordan Love.
Sure.
And I think he's a good pickup. I mean, his stats are crazy, dude. He did such a good job last year. I think he potentially won some leagues for some people.
Probably.
People that wanted to punt on the QB spot and got Jordan Love at the end of the draft.
Yep.
All of a sudden, they're having this top 5 quarterback. Like hell
Did
yeah!
he finish
Like
top 5?
He was number 5.
Wow, that's
yeah,
great. That's
crazy,
really good.
crazy,
I knew
right?
he did good. I didn't know it was top 5.
Crazy.
That's
And
really good.
now with him having Josh Jacobs, I mean, I think I think Green Bay this year is
not a
going
lot
to
of
be
changes
great.
to that aside from Josh
Yeah.
Jacobs. A lot of changes to that Green Bay offense. I think that he's going to have there's no reason he can't do what he did last year and a little more maybe.
So I think he's a player that you want to watch out for. Like if it's getting towards late in the draft and you haven't picked up a quarterback and Jordan Love's still available, pick him up. I think he's going to do some solid work. Do y'all have any quarterbacks that y'all are looking for?
I think I have one to avoid.
Okay.
I'm gonna stay away from this quarterback, mainly just because draft capital, and to me he starts a tier that he's the beginning of a tier to where I can kind of lump in all these quarterbacks that are pretty much just elite passing quarterbacks. And I'm talking about CJ Stroud here.
What?
He is on Fantasy Pros, he's ranked number 52. Right, so CJ Stroud, not really a runner. He doesn't have that rushing upside, but we know he's just going to be an elite passer.
Sure.
So we have him here at 52. We can go all the way down to Brock Purdy. So that's rounds later. Let's see. Let's find out where Brock Purdy's at. Would you say that Brock Purdy has just as much weapons as CJ Stroud? Is he just as good as a passer, CJ Stroud? Right, we're not.
Yeah,
we're not
I'll
talking
agree.
too much
I would say
different.
there's more hype with Stroud.
Sure,
he's new and hot.
I think in terms of passability, though, C.J. Stroud edges him out. I think C.J. Stroud has a better deep ball. I think Brock Purdy is a better game manager. So I think they have advantages that we can't necessarily compare.
And Brock Purdy's
apples.
gonna benefit from dump offs to CMC, to little short passes to Debo. Kittle, if he's healthy. I mean, it's hard to say who's got the better weapons, but we know that Shanahan scheme is little quick passes, dump offs, and he doesn't have to throw the deep ball that often.
Yeah, we're talking about 30 picks difference between CJ Stroud and Brock Purdy on this list. Like, give me Brock Purdy maybe 2-3 rounds later instead of CJ Stroud.
Yeah, and that's not saying Brock Purdy's going to have a better season, right? It's saying that, like, for the value.
For the value, the 30
Right.
picks ain't equaling the
Right.
value that you're gaining.
Yeah.
Comparable season.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
I agree. I have another quarterback, a new one, Caleb Williams for the Bears that Gage hates.
I don't hate the Bears, for the record. I have nothing personal.
So
I
here's
don't
why-
hate the Bears.
So I don't know where Caleb Williams is on the list, Brian,
me
but talking on the same kind of thing with the San Francisco and the Houston Texans, he has a lot of weapons too, right? He has DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Adunes or a new guy,
Adunes, yeah.
Cole Kmet's still there, and he has DeAndre Swift,
Yeah.
which also is a pass rusher too, right? So like, this guy is set up for success.
Where
And
do you-
I don't think he's going at all early.
Where do you take him, though? Where does he go?
I'm just saying
It's kinda
I feel like he's a quarterback you could take in late in the rounds, and you're gonna get a lot of value off him.
I'm
He's
not
going to
sure that
be.
he falls, though. Like, someone might
he's
take that chance on him.
somebody.
He's pretty hyped up.
You're going to get him in probably like the back quarter of your draft, most likely.
I think so too.
Maybe,
He's ranked 14th behind Tua. So I mean, if your league's 10 or 12, he's probably going to be there. If I mean, that's assuming you're taking one or two.
I mean,
quarterbacks.
he's also good just to be on your bench though too, right? As a backup,
yeah.
see how he does.
That's a true sleeper, I would say.
With where that is at though positionally in the draft, I think I'm going to be going Jaden Daniels over Caleb Williams just for from the athleticism point of view.
Another sleeper. Yeah.
I think he's going to be more. I don't want to say he's going to be an Anthony Richardson, but can produce more Anthony Richardson type games than what Caleb Williams. And that's a complete prediction. We haven't seen these guys.
For me personally, if I'm going to take a rookie quarterback, I'm not going to use a lot of draft capital on him. Like, if you can get them late and you want to take a chance on a rookie and you already have somebody who's going to be solid, I could see doing that. But me personally, I'm not going to spend a lot for a rookie quarterback, especially in a place like Washington, where they really haven't. I don't know.
Yeah.
They just don't really have like a great history of quarterback play. So I don't know if I would do that.
And you look down that list a little further behind Caleb Williams, and you see Trevor Lawrence sitting there. And that'd be a hard pass for me, too, if I saw that group of names. I think I'm leaning Lawrence over Williams, too, for the pure fact of his track record, experience. Sure. He's got some wheels on him. He's got some players around him.
Sure.
Even then, you still got Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, Herbert. Like,
solid names. I guess
Solid
it
names
depends
back
on if
there.
you're a gambling man, right?
Right.
Do you take the rookie?
Like, you can take one stud early on, or maybe take two of these in the back end of your draft and kind of, play
He
on
might be
week by
one to
week.
put on the bench and wait and see.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about a position that we haven't talked much about, which is the tight end. Right, we mentioned earlier there's a good cliff on there. There's a lot of depth to it as well too. After you get past your elite ones, and I have two on here that we didn't talk about, and one is Steelers' own Pat Freiermuth.
Yeah.
Now, I think Pat Freiermuth is actually a good pick. Great pick. Only because there's a lot of not a lot of demand. So he's a guy that you could pick really late in the league.
Last pick probably.
Yeah, and he's going to produce good numbers. At least I think so, because he doesn't have much competition for the ball right now, right? Because I don't think Brandon Ayuk's going to the Steelers.
Sure.
And his only competition is going to be Pickens, right? So it's like, where's the ball going? It's going to go to the tight end, and it's going to
Dump offs to the backfield with Jalen Warren. But again, Jalen just picked up an injury last night to a hamstring, which is a 3 to 6 weeker from my understanding. And I think that bumps up Najee on a different conversation, up a little bit on his running back tiers. But again, I think that's going to equate to more passes being thrown to Freiermuth's way.
Freiermuth could be good.
I think he's a hot commodity.
There's a path there for him.
Yeah, I think he's going to do a lot better than previous years. Yeah. Another one I have in the same situation is Dalton Kincaid.
I was hoping you'd say that name.
Because, look, we have Josh Allen here with no Diggs, no Davis. Who's he throwing this ball to? They replaced Diggs with a rookie.
Who's supposed to have some heat behind his name.
He's supposed to have some heat, but he's also a rookie, right? Allen knows Kincaid, and last year Kincaid did pretty good. There was a connection there, and I feel like Kincaid also not a super hot commodity. I feel like a lot of people are kind of sleeping on the Buffalo Bills this year.
He's a more athletic and a more involved Tyler Kraft, which we saw him have a lot of good success with Josh Allen in the past. I think that he is an athletic specimen at the position. Sure. I think he moves differently compared to a lot of other tight ends. He has proven hands. And I think most importantly, he has a proven relationship with Josh.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot to take into account for, especially down there in the red zone.
Yeah, I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if Kincaid will be the number one target for Buffalo.
So I think he could be a stud.
He could be a stud, but Dawson Knox is still there. It's not like he's just going away. And a lot of Kincaid's production last year was when Knox was out. So
very good. That's very true. Very true.
Some risk to it, but yeah, would I be surprised if he's a top tight end? No. But
sure. Okay. All right.
I think from a player standpoint too, I'm leaning towards Kincaid more so than Knox from an athleticism standpoint as well.
And he was a rookie last year, right? So I mean,
Kincaid was. Yeah.
So he'll probably see more usage.
I think that will shine through in his second year.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so too. I'm hoping for it. I may be looking to try out these theories in one of my drafts. What about y'all? Any tight ends that y'all are aiming for
Trey
going
McBride.
into?
Yeah, he's going pretty early. I don't think he's gonna be a stud. But
really?
It's kind of you're probably gonna have to spend like a top 6 pick to get a guy like that.
Probably round 4.
Top 6 round pick.
5, 6.
And I like him. I just don't know if I really want to take a tight end that early. I still like guys like in the back, like deep late picks for the tight end. Like I'm okay with like a Taysom Hill late. I'm okay with like Jake Ferguson for the Cowboys late. I'm okay. I'd rather use that value somewhere else, and I would rather take a tight end later, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of value, let's move on to the wide receiver. And my first wide receiver I'd like to talk about that we didn't talk about, I think has a lot of value that wasn't shown last year, and that is good old Terry McLaurin.
Ooh, that's a good
Scary Terry.
Yeah.
I mean, what's going on with him? He has
New quarterback.
Upgraded.
Rookie quarterback. Is it an upgrade?
I think it might be an upgrade.
Maybe.
Well, it was Sam. It might be.
Sam Howell was a slinger.
I mean,
he's slang that thing. Yeah. I mean, you just never really know how these rookie quarterbacks are going to shake out. But if it does work out, he could be a stud for the value. It just comes down to if you're willing to take that risk. You know. So. I like
because he has Jaden Daniels, right?
Right.
So in the preseason so far, we've seen Jaden Daniels throw some pretty fucking deep balls.
Yeah.
And who else is on the Commanders list too?
Jahan Dotson.
Dotson?
Don't sleep on Jahan.
I'm kind of sleeping on Dotson.
If you're gonna buy into the Commanders' offense, then
and there's also Thielen there too, right? But I don't think Thielen.
No, Thielen's with Carolina.
Yeah.
Oh, he went to Carolina. Oh shit, I didn't update my my list here.
Has he ever been a Commander?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
All right.
You know what? I think I just can't. You know what? I can't read.
Yeah.
I can't read my own handwriting. I'm sorry. I wrote Thielen somewhere else. You're right. My next cliff notes. But no, Scary Terry I think is going to be a good pick only because you can get him also later on in the draft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of anyone reaching to get this guy. The other one I was going to talk about is Deontay Johnson for the Carolina Panthers.
That's interesting.
Now that's where
Very
Thielen is
interesting.
at.
Correct.
I'm kind of like, we saw what Thielen did last year over there. He had a pretty good, like, I don't think anyone saw him producing like he did.
Yeah.
So what made Thielen so great over there, in my opinion, was his route running.
Yeah.
You know, his route running is second to none compared to a lot of the vets in the league. And I think when we try and compare that conversation to Deontay Johnson, it's going to be kind of one and the same. Deontay Johnson is bringing to the table route running. Coming from a Steelers organization who I got to watch very often and see his production and his lack of production. And so that's what's going to be what flashes off the page with him is his skill set with the routes. Now, can he catch the ball? That, you know, he's known to not have the best hands in the league. A lot of drops over the last 3 or 4 years. He also has a rookie over there with Xavier Legette, who's getting a lot of hype. And then again, Adam Thielen. So when it comes to Deontay, I'm fading Deontay,
Okay.
and I'm particularly because of where he's being drafted for the value. I'm going Thielen over him.
I agree, and I'm, for the most part, I like Thielen. I'm still just gonna fade the Panthers offense. I mean, Thielen had a great year, but man, it's just, I don't want to be invested in a. They were probably like, were they the worst offense in the league last year?
They were probably
Probably
bottom
so.
five.
Very close to it.
Yeah.
I just don't want any part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Panthers fan, but
And two, how much did their rookie quarterback from last year really improve? Because he was not great on
No.
film. He didn't pass the eye test, and he wasn't great on paper either.
No.
So
All right. Okay. I feel what you're saying. All right. Up next, I have a running back that I like to talk about. Kenneth Walker.
I
How
don't
do
think
we
this
feel-
Is a sleeper. This isn't even. This is Kenneth Walker is going to get volume. He's going to be a stud, and I think for where he's being drafted, it may even be a little late.
Yeah.
And I like K9. I think he's a stud. I
So-
think that Seahawks running back position has been valuable for a long time.
So that's my point. I think he's going to be drafted a little bit late, but I think he's going to put up solid RB1
I think
numbers.
he's listed late. I don't think he's going to be drafted late.
Okay.
yeah, so
I think
he's
he's
right
listed
behind Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, I
on
think he's
Fantasy
listed late,
Pros.
but I don't think he'll be drafted late. I think like if you've been playing fantasy long enough, you know Kenneth Williams is going to get or Kenneth Walker is going to get volume, and that Seahawks organization likes to run the ball.
Absolutely.
And I don't see any reason why he should be listed this late. He did have a couple injuries last year, but
And I think the big scare for some last season was Zach Charbonnet, and I
Sure.
think we got to see there ain't nothing to be scared of.
Exactly.
He's a good handcuff, if
Yeah.
you will, but in terms of him cutting into production, I wouldn't worry about it. I like Kenneth
I
Walker.
wouldn't consider him a sleeper. I think where he's going, they have him listed at like 40. He's top 40, and that's probably late. I feel like I would take him over guys like, man, this is like James Cook. I'd probably take him over James Cook. I'd probably take him. I'd probably take him over. This is crazy. Alvin Kamara. Is that crazy? Am I crazy?
No.
I just hate that
that's-
Saints offense, man. I hate that Saints offense.
You just say,
I would take him over guys like
just hate
Drake
Connor.
London. I would take him over guys like Chris Olave. So I could see him going.
He really
I hate those. I
hates
hate the
Chris
Saints.
Olave.
The Saints need a new quarterback. Need a new offensive line. But I don't know. I think he's criminally low on this list, and he's a stud.
Yeah.
Talking about criminally low, I think Rashad White is criminally
Agreed.
low
Agreed.
on these running back rankings.
Agreed.
So let's get into that. I would like to end off the show with all of us talking about one player that we think is going to be like our league winner. And I'll start off to give you time to think about it. I'm going with Isaiah Pacheco. I think that guy, for where he's being drafted at, which is, not round 1, I think he's going to be finishing easily top 5, maybe even top 3.
I agree. That's a good pick. He's going to get a lot of volume on a strong offense. I think he's going to be solid.
Yeah, I think he's
Yeah.
gonna be solid, and that's gonna be my league winner for
I
2024.
can see that. And I think what I'd like to do here is I've got 3 running backs who I feel like are going to be great value. And
Okay.
these 3 running backs are going late, and I feel like these are going to be great value guys. If you can get them later, I think they're going to have a big impact on the season. First one, of course, David Montgomery. I'm a big Montgomery guy. Jameer just got banged up. He's the goal line guy. Still a high-powered offense. He's going late. I still like David Montgomery. Another guy this is a kind of been a topic of conversation, but Zach Moss in Cincinnati. People are saying that's Chase Brown's position, but he's still the goal line guy. I think he's going to get a lot of volume. I don't think Chase Brown is going to be getting too much of his touches. I like Zach Moss for where he's going. And one last running back, Gus Edwards in L.A. I think he's going really late. I think he's going to get a lot of volume. There is concerns about that Chargers offense losing a lot of weapons, and are they going to be able to move the ball as well without those weapons? But I think he's going to get a lot of volume, and could potentially have a strong impact on a fantasy season this year. So I like those 3 running backs, and then one wide receiver who I feel is really good value potentially, Curtis Samuel with the Buffalo Bills. He's an explosive guy, and he's explosive, and he's going late, and Josh Allen's got to get those targets somewhere. So I like Curtis Samuel late as a sleeper for where he's going.
Nice, dude. Brian, man, I don't want to give my 3, but I just want to piggyback off of what Gage was saying. I too have identified Gus the Bus Edwards as someone to key in on those later rounds if you are looking for a running back because he went a certain direction in your draft. I'm a big fan of the Harbaugh brothers. I think they bring that run-first mentality. We've seen it in the past when Harbaugh was in the NFL prior to his exit back to college, and now that he's back, I think he brings back that running game mentality. He did a complete re-cleanup of the whole Chargers organization, and I think that he's set up really pretty for a Gus Edwards type of season. And then the hype out of that locker room in training camp this year is that Gus is the man for goal line, which I think we all knew, but I think he's going to surprise us and do a lot more in terms of that goal line work. I would not be surprised if we see 3 to 4 catches a game for Gus Edwards.
You want to go?
I'll go and give a couple names that I want to talk about. So one running back that's going pretty deep in a lot of the leagues and mock drafts that I've been seeing is Trey Benson. And I think he has the potential to be a league winner. He is rookie running back with Arizona. He's right behind James Conner, who I know is a valued running back in this league. He does produce. However, there are times where we see those James Conner games way too often where he's more so of a 2 yards in a cloud of dust type of player, and you're really relying on those end zone looks. And so I think if he follows the injury track that we've seen and he does not play every game this season, which I think we know is a highly likely scenario, I think Trey Benson slides in, shows what kind of work he can do, and I think he becomes a top producer really quick in that backfield.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Good pick. That's a good pick.
I guess I'll put a bow on it, and I have one running back that I want to talk about. This running back is in a top 5 offense. This running back finished number 2 overall last year, and he is currently ranked running back 24 on this list. So we're talking about Raheem Mostert. I just want a piece of the offense. I want a piece of that offense. Whether they have Achane, they drafted another rookie as well. But what if Achane gets hurt, right? He has plenty of injury concerns. Raheem Mostert instantly becomes a running back 1 right away, right? Achane's out. He's going to be a top 3 running back pretty much that week. I just want a piece of it. We know he gets the goal line work. For what he finished last year to be running back 24, take a shot on him. Maybe you're whatever,
So
later on.
third round pick.
No, not even. No.
No, he's going late.
He's going
Very
way
late.
later than
Okay.
that. He's
like going like 8, 9, depending on the size of your
on
league.
this list. He's like number 72. So depending on your draft, he may be.
I'm sorry.
Maybe
Made 24 running back.
he's the 24th running back coming off the board. So he may be like round 7 right here. You can. I would take a shot on him honestly if he's there. He's a league winner if things fall the right way.
It's true.
So that's what I would leave off.
I don't disagree. Yeah, you're right. That Dolphins offense is crazy, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you all for coming on, and hopefully, guys, I wish y'all the best of luck on y'all's drafts. Audience, if y'all have learned anything from us, or if you want to call us out for being wrong from last year, please leave in the comments. Tell us to eat more fucking crow, because we will. But let us know what y'all think. Let us know who y'all think y'all sleepers are, who y'all are going for, who you're going to be targeting in your drafts. And if you think we're wrong about anything, call us out.
Let us know.
Let us know where we're wrong, because we are wrong pretty often. And let's say we'll try to do this again. We'll try to do some more fantasy football this year. I know last year we only did a preseason show. I think this year we should meet up maybe like a few weeks into the draft, kind of have like touch on things of where we're at, who we actually drafted, if we stuck to our guns or if we just fucking went crazy and went all spaghetti on our fucking drafts. Like we'll touch up. We'll let you know how our drafts are going. Let us know how your drafts are going, and we'll see you around on the E4 podcast and the E4 fantasy football shows.
Thank y'all. Thanks
Thank
guys.
y'all
Good
for
luck.
letting me on here. Peace.
Hey man,
Yeah.
Poodle, thanks for joining us, dude. We'll see you again, dude.
Hell yeah.
I'll invite you back on.
Appreciate
All right,
that.
later,
man.
guys.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys.
I never had a father.